You had to be tough to live in 18th century London. It was the city of the great unwashed. People lived in cramped quarters and they were covered from head to toe in lice. Now these led to lesions all over their bodies and boils breaking out, and they'd have to go to the local apothecary to get creams to treat them. Now things weren't much better outside either. The air reeked of rotten sewage, and so people would close the windows to avoid it. Well, I'm off now to the Museum of London to find out what it was really like to live in these times. I'm with Terry Charman, who's Senior Historian at the Imperial War Museum. Here we are in the Chiefs of Staff room, and you'll see all of the maps and tables around us, and this is where they would have met. And we're here today to talk about Brendan Bracken. After St Paul's, Senate House was the tallest building surviving in London after the Blitz. Now there are rumours that Hitler wanted to make it his headquarters should he ever invade London. But I think nearer the truth is that German bombers were using it as their landmark to get to the East End.
Instrumental in doing that.
He seems a very perceptive character, Bracken, and also great observer, great networker. And did he reach people individually and lobby on behalf of Winston Churchill?
He did. I mean, he wasn't popular, especially in the establishment, as it was in those days.
They're of good colour still. They've kept
they
some
are
of the
amazing.
paleness.
You can see all the individual teeth there, and they are really good.
Who would have owned dentures like that?
It would have been the rich, I think. I'm sure the poor wouldn't have suffered so badly. They had less sugar in their diet.
There's an interesting point there, because you talked about Lord Halifax, and he was mooted to be PM, or possible PM, before Churchill was appointed. And there was this point where Bracken is a spin doctor, taking on a kind of a spin doctor advisor role, saying, Churchill, please do not say anything, sit quietly. And then they'll say, well, we won't appoint Halifax, we'll actually go for Churchill if you sit quietly and say nothing about Halifax's appointment.
That's absolutely right.
So this is where it all happened, Senate House. Imagine it's 1940 and the height of the Blitz. The bombs are raining down on Whitehall, and the Ministry of Information needed a building as large as this to accommodate its 7,600 staff. Now, some of Britain's greatest talents were based here, including Sir John Betjeman, the poet, and also George Orwell, who wrote 1984 based on his peculiar experiences of working here. What was Bracken's personality like? I hear he's very unconventional.
He was a larger-than-life character. I don't think there has been any British cabinet minister with such an eccentric private life.
This time I'm going to take you to these very novel spectacles.
Yes. Well, again, in the 18th century, it was the first time that spectacles, as we would recognise them, were introduced. They had arms for the first time, and actually the optics, the glass section, came in different sort of powers. So before that, it was just one for the young, one for the old, but now they actually came in different levels, and they were far more practical for people to use.
Did you have to have an eye test for that?
They were opticians, so presumably they would have tested people and tried out different glasses before they purchased a pair, yes.
And these look exceptionally refined. I imagine they were used for reading as well.
Yes, they probably were. They're made of silver, so they were probably, owned by someone quite wealthy. And they are a lovely piece.
And very tiny as well.
Yes, very tiny, although they've got long arms, but not very wide across the face.
Must have had very small faces then.